Good evening, Cashley FC people, our people, the tribe of casuals. Welcome to Cashley FC, the Cashley Chelsea show. Um, Today we're going to talk about something a bit different. We're going to talk about the fan base in general, um, player stands, agendas, toxicity within it, even some maybe even positive toxicity. That's a thing as well. Um, but before we kick in, like and share the video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Helps support the channel. And if you want to send a super chat, you can do. That's the only time I'm ever going to ask you to do that at the start of the show. But you may have noticed that Marshall is not here. So he has left me in charge. So I am running this channel right now. But yeah, I'm gonna have a few. I've sent a link out so the guys can join me. But one guy who has joined me, who I know has a big opinion about this as well as I do. And you might find it ironic that because I'm sure me and him, I'm sure people in our own fan base don't agree with everything that we say, so they might find it ironic. But I'm gonna have Scott join me. Hello, Scott. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, bro. But for people wondering about the name and everything, this is just like go and watch like Lewis's stream. It was a long one, but I did have a different name. Did have a different name before that, which was Fuck Fanbase, which is very apt. But yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to speaking on this topic because it needs to be spoken about. Like it gets spoken about. It's one of those topics that gets brought up, every so often, like every few months, it kind of creeps its way back. It's normally after a result like this or after, all the discourse on Twitter that's been happening, it normally comes back.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be interesting.
Now, I don't know if you agree with me. I think social media, Twitter has made football fans worse considerably, or it's allowed people to. Maybe it's a broader stroke. It, it's now every minute of every day. When football's on, it's like Marshall is on holiday for the next week or so. He'll be back, so don't worry about it. But thank you very much, and hello, Paolo as well, and text the show. I since probably actually, do you know what? Since probably when the pandemic started, I think because the boom in football social media. Obviously people at home, not really going out or anything like that. YouTube channels like this popping up and everything else, but it's allowed people to just say what they want, which is fine, but not think that they can have any they're not willing to accept any feedback from anyone or something like that. And let's stick to Chelsea in general because I think Chelsea, and let me just say this right now, it's not the whole community. We all know that, but there's a portion of this community that is just, for me, whether it's negative toxicity or positive toxicity, really is sometimes ruins the experience of supporting Chelsea. Have you found that?
Mhm. Yeah, I found that last night. Like last night was I've kind of got it a little bit here and there, but there was always certain things that kind of got me through it, like whether it was the streams I would jump on because it was nice having debates, or other things. Like there's always it kind of been there for a little bit, but last night was when it really hit me. And it's just got to the point of it's just not enjoyable. And you're right, it's not the majority. It's not like all the whole fan base, but it's a large majority that unfortunately outweighs the small minority. Like you've the majority, which is like, and I'll be blunt about this, a bunch of dickheads, and that's me being polite, that outweigh the sound, like the minority that can debate, that aren't player stands, that can have balanced views on things, that won't just talk nonsense for the sake of nonsense or just want to push an agenda and all this. And it's just annoying because they get drowned out. You have some big accounts and you have some big people like Con, for example. I really like he's like one of the good guys. There's others, but so few of them get their voices out there because it's the sensationalist dickheads that unfortunately seem to outweigh or be able to push their voice further out there.
Yeah, I agree. It's I don't know. I don't know what it is. You probably found it. I mean, I love muting people, on Twitter. So I can't, but not because I just said I can't. I don't give anyone the satisfaction of really blocking them. There are a few I've blocked, obviously, but I don't. I just see. I really lose interest when someone retweets something from a Twitter that starts with like a player name. So whether it's like it has Mount in it or Kai in it or Jorginho in it or something like that, and then they'll just bring on like yesterday. I don't know if you know. You probably saw this. There was I can't remember. I'm not going to give it credit because I can't even remember what account it was. But the account saying is Raheem Sterling our worst signing of the summer?
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm just going, what? So I come out and go, right, are you coming at this for clicks? So are you clout chasing? Are you putting something in the water for the piranhas of Twitter to bite onto? Something like this? Or and then I'll go, or do you actually mean this? So I'll take it from the fact that you actually mean this. And I'm thinking, what is it? I mean, you said it on Lewis's stream a bit earlier. Go check out Lewis G. You said that people are waiting for players to fail, right? Scott?
Yeah, no, there is that. It's like it's just because I saw the same thing, and it's just it's people waiting for players to fail. It was the same with Lukaku. Like for for everything that me and Andrew are going to speak on, I want people to fully take the kind of politics and the bad, I don't know how to word it, but like the kind of negatives out of it in terms of like, I'll mention Lukaku, take the interview out of it, take how it ended out of it, like take all of that, whether from any player, just take all of that out of it. Just look at it from like as a player, as someone coming into our team. Look at the way people have been so quick to turn on Lukaku, so quick to turn on Sterling. That's their way. They're quick to turn on Aubameyang. The way they want to speak about Cucurella. The way they want to speak on who else have they spoken about? The way that people want to talk about Kovacic now, like all these players, it's the same nonsense, and it's like I said earlier, it's people waiting for someone to fail so they can put out this nonsense of either I was wrong. Or look at this player's terrible. He's never going to work for us. I knew it. This, that, and the other. And I'll be completely honest. Like, and I said this on Lewis's stream as well. We know where it comes from. Like, especially with some of the players I mentioned. In fact, probably most of the players I mentioned. We know where it comes from. Like, if the shoe fits, we know where it comes from with this fan base. Unfortunately, so many of these people have this underlying like necessity to hate, but the same people want to defend Werner for 2 years despite bozo performances where he did nothing but run because he's quote unquote nice guy, and people want to defend Kai Havertz when my guy hasn't turned up for like 3 years apart from one Champions League final goal. Like, cool. The energy needs to be the same for everyone or no one. You can't suddenly turn around and be talking about Sterling being a terrible signing and being poor and being this, that, and the other when you've wanted to defend Werner and Havertz and Ziyech and whoever else for years. It doesn't work that way. You need to then give Sterling the same amount of time. If we're coming back in 3 years and Sterling's still not doing it, then cool, we can have that conversation because we've given them the same amount of time.
But Scott, you're asking people to be consistent, and people are not consistent. They're not.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's not even just consistency. It's just like, and it comes. To be fair, it comes back to something you said on Lewis stream. But it's just like common sense. Like it's just I'm asking people to have a level of common sense and to have a level of being able to be like adults about this.
Yeah.
Like the way I see people act, especially on Twitter, and as I said, it's just come to the point recently where I'm just tired of seeing the same bullshit. Every day I go on Twitter now, and you mentioned about the blocking. I've got to the point I just block people now just because I don't want to see it. Like, again, I'll not say some of the accounts because I don't want to give them any publicity, but I've just like, the accounts. I just got to the point. I must have blocked about 10 accounts just because I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to see them. Like, and it's some people I'm on streams with because I just don't. I just didn't want to see just the constant times I'd see them tweet. It was just tiresome. And it's just got to the point of every time I go on Twitter, it's the same people want to run this right agenda, or it's the same people want to run this J5 agenda, or it's just Mount agenda, or it's let's big up this player to an unnecessary level, and it's boring. It is boring.
Hey, so I actually want to say this because it ties into what you're talking about, and you had a good performance on Lewis's stream. I thought you made some good points, so well done to you. But I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky dude, right? Like I don't really complain about a lot. My life's good and all that jazz, but I also know for certain that life can sometimes just not be fair, right? I mean, the shit happens, and you kind of either roll the punches or you let it really affect you.
Like the Celtics bottling the NBA championship.
But yeah. But they're the best team in basketball, buddy. But the thing is that I have to be a little less naive about this Chelsea thing because I often think the sports are a meritocracy. I treated it as such when I was a player and when I was a coach. Like if you deserve to play, you deserve to play. Period. Full stop. Okay. I didn't really. There was not a lot of favoritism there, but there is a player on this team, and he is not. And he is a white player because I know what Scott is getting at, and he's right by the way because there are racists in this fan base, no doubt. But there is a white player on this team that gets way too many opportunities, and that player is Mason Mount. He is not good enough to get the amount of minutes and starts and opportunities that he gets. He is nowhere near good enough for that. And I don't understand if this is a meritocracy, okay? If Graham Potter is treating this as a meritocracy, I do not understand why he plays so much.
I agree. Mount. I said this to you, Carlito, on Uncle Jester's FC channel. Go and subscribe to that, please. That for me, Mount is falling into a purple patch player. And we're not going to discuss them in a purple patch. We said it on there the other day. But you're right. I think there's no reason why Mount, when he hit for a succession of games that he doesn't play well in, which was before maybe the first Milan game when he put in a decent performance. Let's say the Wolves game, right?
Yeah.
Why I know he was benched for one game, but he still came on in that game, I think, as well. But there's no reason why he had that long to play himself into whatever form it was, because he wasn't having it, right? So why not have the same rule for other players, like, Broha, Pulisic, stuff like that? Now, this is obviously different. We're discussing the player itself, but do you think that the player stands are? I know Scott will fill this, but what do you think of these player stands coming from? Because I know you've seen them. I know. Don't worry. Like on Uncle Jester, don't worry about your language on this channel. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I was unreasonably upset yesterday, and I'm not an angry guy at all. Like at all. I'm very, loosey goosey, but I was really, really upset after the game. Like I really was. I thought the lineup was naive. I thought the lineup was way too unambitious, and we got outplayed. We paid because of that naivete from Potter. But I look, if a person prioritizes a player over the club, then that person is not a fan of the club. That person is not a fan of the club. And let's have it right. One of those people is Johnny Minerals. He is. And I called him out on Lewis's stream. I want him to come on to Jester's. Sorry, I want him to come on to Sadiq's stream, my channel, on Thursday. I want to have a conversation with this person because I want to know why he is so obscenely hyperbolic to the point of caricature. Like, and why this is he only watches one player. He only watches one player. And these people, these guys, look, I'll call it how I see it. It's weird. It is weird, dude. It is weird to prioritize a player over the club. I don't understand it. Like, I really, really don't understand it. I think if he was ever sold, I think his world would fall apart.
Well, it certainly his gimmick would.
Oh,
wow. But no, it's not, and let's not give him too much airtime. He's great. He's an idea. Scott said this on the other channel. He's an idea. He represents
a type of person that is oriented with this club, and it doesn't have to just be. It's a lot of people. I mean, Alex Goldberg does this with Mount too, but any of these fans, I mean, like he basically started the cabal, the Mount cabal. But look, all of these guys, dude, they prioritize a player over the team, and that is so weird to me. It is weird, bro.
Yeah, it is. It's the same. It's the same with the Kai stands as well. It's the same with the Kante ones, the Jorginho ones, even Reece James ones. Even though he's a great player, but you know what I mean. It's like
that's deserved. I'll be weird for Reece James, but no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Yeah, but there will be, but it's like but even last year, Scott. I don't know if you heard this, Collie. Like when we were linked to other, you remember when we were linked to Hakimi, right? Last season. Oh, we can't do that. That will slow down Reece's, progression.
Development.
What are you talking about? What are you talking? It's a squad game. They'll interject. He can play right centre back as well. What are you talking about? Yeah. That's the problem as well. And you're right. As soon as someone, if you ever engage one of these player stands, one of the top two things they will ever say is, yeah, but what about player A? He wasn't. He was just as bad. It's like, no, we will focus on that player afterwards. Let's focus on this player right here, right now. It's like whenever I talk about Kai this season, I don't go, well, the other guy was just as crap. You know what I mean, or something like that. Yesterday, Sterling. I didn't go, oh, banging, it's just as bad. Sterling was poor yesterday, absolutely poor, and I want to focus on why Sterling was poor. But Scott, I know your views of player stats and what you think, but you said part on Carefree Lewis's team. Your view on player stands?
They're a camp, like not them as people, because like I know some people who have agendas or who are player stands who are like good people. Like they seem like they're easy to get on with, like they're down to earth people. But the idea of player stands and like it's even people we know, like we all on this panel love Lewis, right?
I love him.
But the thing is with like him backing Christensen, I know why he did it, but the problem that these player stands don't seem to understand is that you being a player stand causes friction and toxicity from the people that don't rate that player, that they have to then give the same energy back for how quote unquote shit this player is. Like the amount of crap that Christensen now gets. And again, this is not necessarily Lewis's fault. This is kind of systemic of just this fan base and how toxic it is and how clueless some people are and how people can't just be like adults about it. Christensen gets labeled with these like nonsense labels in terms of as a player because of certain things, and it's just. It's nonsense, and it's the same with players like Mount. It's the same with players like Jorginho. People can't put these players and just say out how it is with these players. It's either they've got to be the best player on the pitch or the worst player they've ever seen. There's no in between. Like for me, with let's just take Jorginho for example. As an example, for me, I see what he brings to this team. He has a lot of good attributes, but with the league he's in, there are a few things that he lacks quite considerably. And there are a few things that work with him and a few things that don't. He works better defensively when he's asked to screen, not when he's asked to step up and engage higher up the pitch. That doesn't work. If you want a DM that's going to do that, then J5 is not the person. But I'm not going to sit there and tell you he offers nothing to this team and we're better off without him and he's shit and this, that, and the other. People want to do because again, this comes back to the player stand because they want to lick the nutsack of the West Ham captain.
Scott, to be fair, I mean Jorginho systematically changed the way we play. When he came into the team, we became a more possession oriented team. That is a fact.
How long ago was it? What was the game where we were literally talking about we could not get control of the midfield until he came on? Was that the reverse AC Milan game? Or was it the Villa game? Well. There was a game recently where we literally could not get control of the midfield until he came on, and people told us how much we improved after he came on. We're 2 weeks later, and people are telling me about how shit he is. Make it make sense. The math ain't mathing. It's not mathing. It's not adding up here. Like, and
so
this is my point.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll just say like this the like recency bias, and it's just constantly just everything is now, and it's like I understand you kind of do need to look at what are you doing for me lately kind of mindset, but that's if you're talking about something from like 3 years ago. I'm talking about 2 weeks ago.
Well, look, there's this word that it was in the word that's in this top chat here. It says what about it says what aboutism. Okay, so this is it. It's an intellectual fallacy. People will they'd actually, a lot of people don't actually listen to people. They just wait for their turn to speak. And that's unfortunate because I think there are some smart people in this fan base. However, what Andrew just said, where it's like, oh, no, like Jorginho had this bad game. Yeah, but what about this motherfucker, huh? What about this player, huh? He played like shit too. It's like, no. Don't change the subject just because you're not smart enough to have a conversation about this one subject. You have to make it about something else. Don't do that. That is an intellectual fallacy. That is a crutch. And that shows that you are not confident enough in your argument.
Yes. Well, I think, first of all, a couple of things. I know we'll go back to Blue Rose's thing a bit later. But, this is perfect example. If you remember yesterday, if you had some views, they deflected blame from Loftus-Cheek during that first half before Kovacic came, because they were both getting stripped in the middle, right? They were both in the middle. They were both getting outdone by the three of them. Midfield problems is shared responsibility, not just player X or player Y. That's the point. Jorginho was getting on the Bird app. If you were on there, there, Jorginho was the one getting ripped, and I was like going, are you insane? Ruben is in there with him. They're battling 2 against 3. We know what the issue is. It's 2 against 3. You can't blame one person for getting that, but it all comes back to that. But I just, it's the things on. Back to Christensen. Everyone always forget. Everyone picks up this class of graduates from Cobham. Christensen's the first person to graduate Cobham since, at Chelsea Youth since Terry. Everyone always forgets that. No one ever gives him credit.
It's because he won on loan. That's why people forgot.
Right. They think we just bought him like something. But do you think the agendas in the player stands have erupted since Cobham's been more in play?
Yes.
Since
I think Twitter. I think Twitter is part of it. Twitter is definitely.
I think all of it comes into it, but I think it comes from everything. I think social media plays a large part, but it's everything. It's the Cobham thing. It's the social media. It's this need. A part of it is this need to constantly push stats into everything. Like, I love stats in football. Like, there's a lot of stats I like. Like, I'm quite a stats heavy guy, but I understand that you need to have both. And it's like, it's this constant need to just push stats for everything. Like, there's no happy medium with anything, and it's just kind of a mess. And the Cobham tax thing is interesting because I tweeted something out, I think earlier today, or I retweeted a tweet that was went out today about just how Chelsea Twitter is at the minute, and I said that at the minute what is going on in Chelsea, it's a deplorable place to be. I'll say that much. It's a deplorable place to be, Chelsea Twitter. And so much of it right now is one side is everything Cobham and everything like quote unquote right and proper and British, and everything on the other side is the English players are the problem with everything. And again, it's no consistency in terms of, like, you can't say that all English, like, you can't focus on all the English players and say there's an English bias, but then 2 of our best players this season have been English in Chalobah and Reece. And then you can't sit there and talk about, oh, you know, we need to have a whole British Cobham 11 or something. But then you look at, again, some of our best players this season have been Silva, who's 38 and is Brazilian, and Aubameyang has been brilliant since he's come in, and he's Gabonese, and Kovacic was brilliant yesterday and he's Croatian. Like, make it make sense. Again, the math ain't mathin'. Like, it's not adding up.
The math ain't mathin'. What a quote. I love it. No, I'm with you. Look, he is definitely right. And I'm with him. But again, you can't really expect consistency from human beings, because if you do, you'll always be let down, man. These people are not consistent, dude. They're not. And they lie to themselves every day. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality of the situation. You have to look at, this team and English. And to be honest with you, man, I don't care where the player comes from. As long as he's good and he helps the team, it really should be all that matters. But I think you see a lot of Cobham stands and guys that want us to play the youth. It's because a lot of those people are young. they're young. Like Felix Johnson is like 19 years old. Okay. These guys that are obsessed with Cobham, it's because they like players that are their age. You know, they don't want players in their late 20s and early 30s. And I'm like, that's exactly who I want, is players in their late 20s. All right. But it's because the fans are young. They're young and they like young players because they think that old people are stupid and they could do better. It's because they're young fans, man. Although Johnny's like 50. Johnny's like 50. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe that doesn't fit the. Yeah, he's weird.
But it's just, I just don't understand any of it. Like, I genuinely don't understand any of the nonsense that goes on. Like, I just can't wrap my head around it. And as I said, everything exacerbates everything else. Like,
yeah,
everything just exacerbates everything else. People are so quick to just like hate on someone because it's cool and edgy, or big up a player because like so they can kind of get in there first. It's just a mess. And as I said, it's just Chelsea Twitter is not a nice place to be. Like I said this yesterday as well. Like for me, we're comfortably the worst fan base, if not in the definitely in the top 6, maybe even in the league. Because again, I said this on Lewis's channel earlier, that if you look at the other top 6 like fan bases, they're pretty united about like what they're like, where they are as a club, about most of their players, about kind of how they view players. Like, let's take Arsenal for example. They're irritating as shit, like I know, but they're pretty united about where they're going as a player. Like they fully changed them. Like most of them have changed their minds on Xhaka because they can see he offers something, and they're kind of accepting where they go. Yeah, they like kind of they big their players up too much in a way. Like, but that's not the worst thing in the world. Like that's just kind of irritating being a rival fan and seeing that. But like that's not the end of the world. But like similarly Tottenham, like even though it's kind of going badly, they know it's because like things aren't going well. They're not clashing on, or at least from the outside looking in, they're not clashing on like who's garbage, who's not. They all know who the problems are, who's not good enough in that team, and where the issues are.
Yeah.
And they unite towards that. We're talking about whether like our fan base is debating whether Jorginho or Mount is good enough, and not realizing that it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if you take Mount out of his team and put another person in, the problem still persists because it's more than just a one. You can take Jorginho out and put another player in, and it's still maybe not the same problems, but different problems then persist. And it's like people can't take away their own bias to just see what's best for the team as a whole. They just want to run their bullshit agendas because that's all people care about, is just running these agendas constantly, and it's just boring.
And also, I don't put this. This fan base is so schizophrenic. It's unreal, right? Because and Scott will know this. I don't know if I've told you clear. I'm not. Jorginho is not my cup of tea. Okay, he's not my. If we replace him, fine. I shed no tear, right? But they've ended up making me seem like I am a Jorginho stan, right? By the way I defend him, you know, because I just couldn't take all the bullshit anymore, just the complete lies. Like suddenly we remove Jorginho, replace him with another player, and everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. A new DM sorts out everything. Bring Declan Rice in, he will sort out everything. Suddenly our forwards score and everything like that. But I mean, we are all fan bases are quick to judgment, right? I mean, Blue Lad said here, Kepa's a good example, right? Quick to judgment, maybe, right? Maybe not quick, because we had like 2 years or something like that. But are we now, with every player coming in, are we too quick to judge players? Or is that not the case in your mind?
Oh, I think that, and that gets exacerbated by social media. And that gets exacerbated, honestly, by the pandemic. That everybody's already on edge, and it just makes everything even worse. Now, I'm glad we're almost out of it, but good God. I mean, if you were an unhappy person before that, it's probably made it a hell of a lot worse on your life. And I think that comes into play when you see how much money these guys make every week, and it just conflates and it gets worse because people are jealous and people are angry, and it's unfortunate, but it's the case. But I mean, how do I put this? I'll come back to me. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, what do you think, Scott? I mean, we discussed it. I mean, are we too quick to? I may have been myself. You know, I'm still not on. Kepa's played very well, right? But for me, I'm still not like that he's fixed our goalkeeper issues. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's playing very well at the moment, but neither goalkeeper for me solves our issue, right? For me, at this moment in time, as we're speaking on October 23rd, 2022. Mm-hmm. But are we quick to judge as a fan base, even after one half of football? You know, players, managers, etc.
Yes, we are, and I think that there's two issues in relation to this we have as a fan base, and everyone is guilty of this at least once. Like, I'm guilty of this before. Like, is recency bias and revisionism, where like I see people bigging up Willian now because he scored 2 goals for Fulham.
I saw that.
We are in the trenches. This is a guy who if we're gonna go just purely stats based, his best ever season for us was his final season where he got 9 goals. Like, this is a guy who was never good enough for us, like, really, as like a top level guy, and people
definitely
are now
not the main guy. Definitely
and people are having this revisionism to the point where like they're saying that like he was much better than these attackers. No, he wasn't. Like, he was literally just another one who like ran a lot, was good defensively as a forward, and just looked like he looked like he was doing a lot without doing a lot, and would turn up like once every 2 games. No, not even that. Once every like 2 months against Tottenham or something. And it's the same thing with other players. Like, Kepa's another one. We were so far in the trenches with Kepa and Lampard, and even so far in the trenches that we celebrated Mendy claiming a cross.
I remember that.
That's how far in the trenches we were. He was that bad. He was garbage. And it was the same thing. Like, it's the same thing with Mendy now. Is like, we've had let's say 6 months. Might be long, like might be shorter, whatever. Let's say around 6 months of him being bad. We had an entire season of that under Kepa.
Yeah.
But again, it's this. People are quick to pass judgment. I 100% agree. But I also think people want something to. It's again what I go back to. People want something to work, so they just hold out hope that it's going to work, so that when a glimmer of it starts to happen, they literally just go over the top with it.
I told you so. I told you so.
I was there first.
I was right.
It's like people acting like Kepa's a savior now, and like this isn't just me harping on Kepa. It's just he was the example used, so it's like kind of easy. But people are acting like he's a savior. He's been good, but there's also things that he's been poor at. Like yesterday, for example, he was part of the reason why we got put under so much pressure, because he was so slow and so like poor in terms of his goal kicks. He kept passing it sideways and putting us under more pressure. But instead of like trying to go along with it a couple of times, it became predictable.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the thing, is like we are quick to pass judgment on certain players, like with Sterling, like with Aubameyang, like with Cucurella. Like, the nonsense I've heard about Cucurella is just wild. It's just wild. This guy's had like 2 performances. Yeah, it's just wild. But we're both quick to pass judgment, but they're not quick to pass judgment, because we'll give some of these players enough rope to hang themselves and us.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think part of it is Mendy's contract is up, or there are negotiations with whether they even want to keep him. And that is going on right now. That is make no mistake about it. Chelsea are weighing their options as to whether or not they're even going to keep him. This is not my conjecture. Okay, it was Macca Sport and Simon Johnson were talking about this the other day, and then Ben Jacobs mentioned it on Wednesday on my stream. Look, there's serious considerations for what's going to happen with his future, and I think part of it is bringing in Gabriel Slonina in the January to give him a look, because I mean, I've seen him play. He's very good. He's one of the best young keepers to ever come out of the MLS. So he is quite good, and I think that they're definitely going to look at him because maybe they should. I hate saying this, but Kepa's height is one of the reasons why that goal went in. I mean, he's because he couldn't get it. He's just not tall enough, and that's not his fault. But it is the nature of the beast, and he's not tall enough.
I would have said this on the review if I managed to get on there. But this is the thing with Kepa is people need to understand this with Kepa is those goals are going to happen because of his height. The same with the Leicester goal where the Tielemans scored. It's the same with a couple of the goals that he conceded against City in the 6-0. He's going to concede goals like that just because he's slightly shorter than a goalkeeper should be. Like that's if people could accept that, fair enough. But you have to accept that we're going to concede goals like that. But I will say, like GoEM's comment, like Potter deserves some like criticism for certain things, like the selection. I thought in certain areas yesterday was not great.
Horrible.
And in other games, the problem is again is there's not an actual debate about it. There's now this nonsense of Potter out or is he good enough, or I'm not seeing any changes, or people talking about Tuchel. Like again, it's not even reactionary because again we all do reactionary takes. It's just being a baby.
It's childish. It's childish.
Yeah, childish. That's the word. It's just childish. It's just like, can you not just like say, yeah, he was poor, but like big up him for changing it? Like, you know, it's the people then saying like, I'm not seeing any improvements. It's the same stuff. Well, maybe look at the players then, because it's the same players, and it's just the same nonsense. And we're doing this cycle again. We're doing this same cycle of everything of it being this player's the issue. No, this player's the issue. Then we go around. Oh, maybe it's the managers that's the issue. This, that, and it's just. And again, like I said it before, and I'll keep saying it. It's boring, and I'm tired because it's the same stuff. It's the same nonsense we saw under Tuchel, and it's the same nonsense we saw under Lampard. And it was probably because I wasn't really on social media, at least Twitter, that much. The same nonsense we saw under Sarri. There's a pattern emerging now, and it's boring.
It's fair points, man. It's fair points. There's one player. There is one player that I just simply don't like. And I think there's another maybe element of conning a little bit, where because he's captain and because he speaks well to the manager behind the scenes, that he probably gets things that he doesn't deserve. And that is a con. That's a con. And that's SP. I haven't liked him for a long time. And it is detrimental to the team to have him still on the team because he has a voice and he is influential. Like there's no doubt, but you saw, even if he plays well, I don't care because I'm not that persuaded by a small sample size. I look at a body of work over a long period of time, and that's how I make my judgments. All right. I don't get, like you keep saying the word reactionary. Yeah, dude. I ain't that easy. You're not going to change my mind one way or the other because of one game or one performance. Okay. I'm not that fickle, and I'm also not that stupid. So when I look at SP and I say, okay, this is a player that just simply should not be on the team anymore because he's lost it. He's played way too much football. He doesn't really fit our style of play. He's not quick enough. Like he's very rigid, and he's bow-legged, and he's slow. And it hurt us yesterday that he was playing. It really, really did. And that's team selection. That's Graham Potter, dude. If you're going to make a bad lineup, expect bad results. Okay, don't think that you're going to get away with it just because you want to be cute out there. It was bad, and guess what? That team is nowhere near as good as Chelsea, and they outplayed us.
The thing is, it goes to.
They are though. Like I'll be real, I think they are.
You think they're better? Oh, you think they're better?
As good. I think they are as good because I look at their team and I look at they're solid in some areas, need improvement in other areas. And their depth is probably about as good as ours is in some areas. And I like you look.
Look at their bench yesterday, man. Their bench was horrible.
You say that, but like I when I look at their bench and I look at some of their players, people would say that some of their players are crap. I think they serve a purpose. And I look at, like, for example, their centre backs are sorted. Like obviously Varane's injured, but I think their centre backs are still fine. I think fullback they're okay. Like left back maybe could do with a little bit of an improvement, but they are fairly good there. They are, I think, in terms of midfield, looking a lot better now with how it is. I think in attack, again, I think some areas okay, like Anthony, I think is a good player, but in other areas, like not. I then look at our team and I go, okay, I think defensively, for the most part, we're solid. Maybe we need a backup right back. I think in attack, we're pretty good. Like for the most part, it's just midfield needs an improvement, similar to like how their attack does. Like I think we're in a similar boat, but again, it's people don't want to say that. They don't want to say that we're in a similar boat, and it just again, it comes back to all this nonsense. And Texas Blue asked, like, how do they fix it? It's going to take more signings, but it's going to take the right areas. And this is what people need to realize. Some people do, and they speak about it, but like, it's going to take more. We need a new right back, like, or a backup right back. We need a couple new midfielders, both a 6 and an 8. Like, we probably need another attacker, at least one, because, you know, Ziyech's going to go, Pulisic might, we don't know, but we need someone who can play there because isn't an attacker. We need a new goalkeeper, like starting goalkeeper, who's going to be like better than what we've got going forward. But no one wants to just say this again. It's just the same, like I mentioned earlier, it's the same players that get singled out. It's the same players that get singled out.
But it was the same with his fan base. Within half an hour Potter's first game, I've seen Potter out trending.
That's an expensive proposition.
Yeah, exactly. They're not. It's what I mean. It's too emotional. It's fact. It's feelings over facts, Carlito. Feelings over facts again. That's what I mean. But I mean, this is all as well. It's another thing that people, you know, would you take CR7? I would not take CR7. No chance. But there's people in the fan base that would because it's the name. It's Ronaldo. It's like, well, okay, then why don't I just get Mike Tyson out of retirement to box again? Why don't I just do that?
Easy, Jake Paul.
Yeah, well, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, but it's the same. It goes with anything. It's like because you are so entitled to be. You are entitled to be upset that Tuchel got fired. That's absolutely fine. But you know, the decision's been made. Got Potter in. You should really get behind the new man and want him to succeed.
For sure.
It hurts us.
For sure. And look, I want to say this one thing. Scott McTominay and Fred would not get in this team. That is one area that they are deficient in that I think we're better. Although, look, we are going to be bringing in Edson Alvarez, or at least after speaking with certain people, like I actually really do believe we're doing this. And I think that it would have happened if we had gone for him earlier in the window. If we
decided to get midfield less than 2 days before.
I mean, that was ridiculous. Guys, come on. What are we doing here? Hey, uproot your life on a whim. It's like, dude, you need a little more planning than that. But if we bring him in and guess what? My boy, and I will say it till the cows come home. I love this player. Frankie de Jong is also linked with us again. There are reasons why he's distressed, and I think some of them are financial, some of them are him feeling like the club is doing him dirty, and on top of that, he's not playing a lot. And I would love Frankie de Jong.
Those reasons were explained to him during the summer, dumbass.
I think he thought that his 20 million that he's owed would magically reappear, and it seems like it has not.
You're never saying that. You
ain't getting that, bud. You ain't getting that.
Pay that in legal fees.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It always reminds me of the scene in Dumb and Dumber. This is an IOU, 275,000. Might want to hold on to that one. Oh yeah, no, but look, if we bring in those two players, we know we're bringing in Nkunku, who is really he's a creative forward. You could call him a second striker, an attacking mid, something like a half space winger. I mean, all the jargon that people talk about on Twitter, it's all stupid. But he is a creative forward. Okay, we bring him in, great. The other one, look, man, I'm telling you right now, there are reasons why this guy has not re-signed. Rafa Leao. He is an unbelievable player. And if we bring him in, it makes our team better.
Subscribe to the Blue Lounge as well. Sorry, Cully. Subscribe to the Blue Lounge.
You're good. Yeah. Leao was just he is a world-class talent. World class.
Yes. And that was it as well. But that was it when the standards were when he came in the first game when he went past Reece just the once and everyone was like, oh, he's great, a winger who could run because we haven't seen.
He won Serie A MVP last year, man. He's amazing.
He might win it. They probably won't win it again.
That's how this fan base reacts because we haven't seen that. It's like when Aubameyang scores 3 goals in a row in a row. Oh my God, he's beaten the number 9 curse. Something like that. But I think. Listen, I don't know about you, Carlito and Scott, and let's talk about some positivity now. I think need to be, because not all the Chelsea fans are fan base negative. Okay, even on social media, not negative. We're not negative. We're more. I like to call us realistic, logical. Yeah. Okay. Whether you agree with us or not, I don't care, so I'm going to say what I want to say, and these guys are as well. So you agree with it? It's not going to help. It's not going to destroy us and us having to focus on it 24 hours a day of what you think. But we, thank you very much for supporting us if you have done so. But let's look at the transfer window coming up. I even when Reece comes back fit, right wing back has to be a priority in the January window.
Yeah.
Let alone the summer window. I think looking at our centre back resources at the moment, we've only got 2 fit centre backs.
It's crazy.
That might need looking at, but definitely in the midfield, whether it's 1 or 2. I think I don't know about you, Scott. The next 2 windows, I think both Jorginho and Kante are going to go. No matter what Jorginho said, I think they're both going to go. I think we need to bring in anywhere from 2 to 4 midfielders. Okay. Now, no, I'm not saying 4's the extreme, right? 4's the extreme. 2's minimum, settle for 3. I'm thinking you're looking at 2 sitters or 6, whatever you want to do, and maybe another 8, maybe. But definitely, I think we need to bring 2 6s, 2 sitters, whatever you want to say, coming in, because we desperately need them in this squad. I don't know what you guys think about the January transfer window.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Yeah. Go on, Colin. You go first, mate, and then start.
Actually, yeah, you go first.
Yeah, no, I think it's look, I'll be very, I think about this shit all the time. I'm sure all Chelsea fans really think about the team and how it's constructed and what we're going to do. Yeah, I think it'll be De Jong and Alvarez for sure. The right back situation. Look, I think Reece James is one of the best players in the world, and he's certainly the best at that position. But the problem with him is that he is a big dude. And because he's a big dude in a sport where most people are kind of skinny, it's an injury prone body, man. He's just an injury prone player, and he's gonna, unless he starts doing more yoga or something, I think he's gonna be dealing with injuries his whole career, which is a shame because he is such a magnificent footballer. He really, really is. But that being said, yeah, I mean, someone like Pavard. Okay, or someone like, you guys won't agree, but Matty Cash. All right, someone like maybe even Leandro Trossard, who I know plays like left wing back sometimes for Brighton, but he's a right-footed player. So that's a shout out Jesters. That's Jesters' idea, is to bring him in and be a right wing back cover. But yeah, we definitely need it, because unfortunately, as much as I love the player, Reece James is not reliable when it comes to attendance.
And also, Scott, and also it's just bring someone in so we don't have to keep playing him all the time, or overplaying him all the time, having to bring him on when we rest him. Like against Wolves, it's like I was not angry. I was sort of like, I was going, Potter, why are you bringing James on against Wolves? We're 3-0 up. Just leave Aspie on to play 90. Just leave it. We don't need to bring him on. But I don't know what you're thinking, Scott. Obviously, I don't know if you even thought about like what we said about like even centre backs popping in, but we've only got 2 fit centre backs at this moment in time.
I've said before, we need 6 or 7 signings. Like, that's not necessarily saying January. That's like in terms in this team, we might even need more than that. Hang on, we need goalkeeper definitely, right back, possibly a centre back, but I don't really know.
Could bring Colwell back. Could bring Colwell back.
That's supposed to be
Maybe yeah, you're talking actually. It might be even about 7 or 8 signings that we need in our club.
No, he's right. No, we're not talking all first team squad. We're talking squad.
Yeah,
not all first team. They're squad. They're squad. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, yeah, and it's just the thing with me with signings now is like I don't care who the signing is anymore. Like, come January, say, and it comes out that Potter wants Bellingham and Rice. Go and get them. Like, just go and get them.
Sure.
Like, I used this phrase earlier on Lewis's channel, and I didn't mean it in this way because I shouldn't care about this, but I'm past caring about what the fan base think, and I don't really care. But it's more of a sense of like, if the manager wants Rice, go and get Rice, and the pussy holes that don't rate Rice, hey, suck your mum. Like, go and cry. I don't care. Like, cry, because like at the end of the day, the manager must see something in him, and it's the same thing with like. If he wanted João Felix, again, the pussy holes that don't rate João Felix, cry, suck your mum. I don't care. Like, this is the thing. Like, at this point now, it's like if the manager wants this player, hey, cool, that's fine. Like, you might not rate him. I don't care. Who cares? Are you the manager? No. So cry.
Is it your money? No.
Exactly. And it's not even just the money. It's like, who cares? because all you're doing is you're just setting the basis and the foundation for when he goes full circle. This go back to one of my initial points of if he fails, you can just go like, oh, I was right about this player. Like he was never going to work, and it's just a thing. And it's not you can't question or disagree with the manager. It's more like it's this. I don't know how to if I'm going to explain it correctly. It's more of like because like there were certain decisions that I didn't agree with what Tuchel wanted, but at the end of the day, in terms of the signings, it was like I didn't agree with the Aubameyang signing, but I can understand why he wanted him. Like I can fully understand why he wanted him, and if Potter, like I don't rate Rice that highly, but if Potter wants him and sees something in him that he might be able to work with, I can disagree with the signing, but I can be like, I'll see how this goes. I'll see how
That's
this.
That's it right there, Scott. That's it right there. The first thought should be, okay, it's not my first choice player, it's not my cup of tea. I don't really rate him. The manager's job is then to show me why he wanted the player and how he can help Chelsea. That is the manager's job. That is the manager's job. I gave Werner 18 months, right? I think it's fair to give a signing 18 months to 2 years, right? To settle in, do that, stuff like that. But whoever you bring in, like everyone's going, Trossard. Trossard's a very good player. Just because he plays you don't turn your nose up at stuff like that. Don't be a snob. But if Trossard comes in, okay, if he's not your cup of tea, don't instantly dismiss him like that. Yeah, don't actually go, oh, he's not going to help us do anything. Allow Potter the time to integrate him into the squad and show you how he's going to use him. Stuff like that. Because
and again, it goes back. Sorry to interrupt. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, where like if we're still talking about Sterling, how he's performing now in 3 years, then you can go, yeah, fair enough, or not even 3 years. Like if you go a year and a half later and it's like he's still not performing, then you can hold your hands up and say, yeah, fair enough, that was probably a bad signing. Like it didn't work out. We're not even a third of the way through the season, like, or we might be a third of the way through. We're not halfway through the season. I know that much, and people are passing judgment on these players. I see people passing judgment on Fofana when he's had like 2 games.
Oh, get out of here! Fofana's awesome,
and it's like,
dude.
It's like all you're trying to do at this point, like all this is because you didn't rate him as a player and you just want to be proven right.
Yeah,
that's all it is now. And it's like, if that's the case, like, cool, good for you, but I don't care. Like, you can be right in your own little kingdom, in your own little bubble. Good for you. No one gives a fuck. Like,
I'll tell you one right now. Look, and I'm happy to be wrong and be proven right, or sorry, to be proven wrong if it helps the club. Yeah. I am not that married to my opinions. I have way too many of them to begin with. Okay,
open-minded.
Yeah. So look, I mean, here's a perfect example: Christopher Nkunku. Okay.
Yeah.
When we were initially linked to him, I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even think he's that great of a player. Guess what? And then guess what? I watched him play. He's a great player. He's a great player. It's about being informed. You have to be more informed. And Andrew, I do have to go after this, but it's about being informed, dude. You don't shut yourself off to an idea just because you're a little bit ignorant of it. It's okay to say, I don't really know enough about this player yet, but to just make a sweeping grand statement without putting in the homework, and in this case, watching the player. If you don't watch the player and you're just making a stupid presumption because I don't know, you want to be first, I would advise against that. Against that, and instead just be more informed.
Yeah, and to address Gowan, just to go address Gowan's comment. I know he's had a lot to say. Sterling. I think Sterling now has to adjust and adapt to a new surroundings. This is not Man City. He's not going to have Kevin De Bruyne. So that might take him a while. It started off pretty good, and now with Potter coming in, things have changed. You know, he has to adapt again. Can he do that? I hope he does. If he does, we're winners. We're all winners if he does. And no one's going to say anything. But you are okay to criticize Sterling. It's the point of his performance. But to say as soon as someone says a player's shit, I turn off a bit. You know, I go, okay, fine, blah blah blah. You know, because that doesn't really tell me anything. Why do you think he's bad? It's such a blanket statement. I know you got to go, Carlito. but
Okay, buddy.
Tell everyone where they can find you and what you got coming up this week and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
dude. Yeah, dude. I'm now, one of the organizers of Worldwide Chelsea, and hopefully we'll get Johnny Minerals on the stream this week. If I bother him enough, he'll probably come on. So there you go.
That's true.
All right, see you guys.
But also, yeah, Uncle Jester's FC as well.
Yep.
Carlito's part of that as well.
Yep.
So.
Jester's FC.
Do you know what? Don't just turn your notifications on and subscribe to the channels, guys, and then you'll know when he's doing the show.
Absolutely.
All
right.
Always welcome here, my friend. You know that.
See you, buddy. See you, Andrew. See you guys. Bye.
See
you.
Yeah, same place. Listen, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm not. I just think going back to the whole thing is about player stands, agendas, toxicity. I don't like it when I see people's first thought when we have a bad result is the player they may not. I'm not saying anyone here does that. The player they don't rate, they want to say that bit first. They're not commiserating over the fact that Chelsea haven't done well. You know what I mean? It's like I saw it yesterday. It's like, damn, why Chelsea didn't get a point? I'm so disappointed. I saw loads of Sterling didn't do this, or Aubameyang didn't do this, Mount didn't do this, Jorginho didn't do this. Why isn't it? Why did we draw? Were we lucky to get a draw? Blah blah blah. How did the team perform? Why are we isolating players? Because my thing is always look at I've always said to you, mine's the result first, performance second, team performance second, then look at individual performances. But it's just. But I also there's the other end of there's toxic positivity as well. You must have seen that, Scott. There's toxic positivity. Have you ever seen that?
If I have, I don't really know.
Well, it's sort of like someone just like saying like trying to prop up a player or a manager.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's like and it doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? It's
but that's what comes back to like what I said with the having a like player stands. They cause their own problems because then they'll big up this player to like for example, like I saw someone tweet out like Jorginho's stats from last night, and it's like all it did was just cause a bunch of backlash on Jorginho and people just saying he's shit. It's like I just don't understand. Like you can again, and this comes back to using like the happy medium thing of like you can use some of the stats to say why like you thought he did well in an area, but say like his overall game wasn't the best, like he struggled, like I saw like when Lewis was doing this earlier when he said that like he was really poor in the first half, but in the second half got a bit better like once we got started to get hold of the ball. And it's like you can there's ways you can like criticize and ways that you can praise a player, and it doesn't have to be to the extremes all the time. It doesn't have to be just a constant need to prop players or tear players down. Like it's just on the like criticism thing, it's just always directed at just the wrong areas all the time. Like
it's really only two in the Chelsea fan base. It's Mount or J5. That's it. But Kai to a lesser extent now. It's maybe coming up a bit more, but it's either Mount didn't do this or Jorginho didn't do this. Stuff like that. Those are the top two. I was going to say, but
it's like I'll give you two examples, right?
Yeah.
And this is not me trying to bring hate on them or whatever. It's just kind of use examples of United's best chance before they scored came from Loftus-Cheek losing the ball because he tried to run through three players and lost it.
Yes. Yeah.
But no one talked about it. No one said anything. No. The only thing people talked about that whole passage of play was Kepa's save. That's all people talked about. Then you look at the goal that we conceded, and you had some people talking about it. And again, this is not trying to throw hate on him or anything, but next to no one spoke about the fact that Chilwell lost his man. That it was if you're blaming anyone, if you're putting blame on anyone, it was Chilwell's fault. He lost his man and potentially kept them all onside. I'm not entirely sure about that because the frame which people are using is a bit like it's after the ball's already left the player's foot. Anyway, like we're going to end up going back to him, but from what I was told, you've got people like Johnny who were blaming Pulisic for why we conceded that goal. This is the world we live in. like I mentioned earlier, I think it was on this stream where I mentioned on Lewis's stream, I don't like Pulisic. As a person, I find him deplorable. He comes across like
Yeah.
an arrogant, self-centered, like just not a nice person. But I'm not like, as a footballer, I'm not massively enamored with him. But I'm not going to blame him for the result yesterday because that's nonsense. But it's just like, it's just anything to get at the same players or anything to not criticize the same players, and it's this circle of shit and circle of toxicity that will continue to go round until these players leave, which I'm almost at the point where I just want them to at this point. Like I want Jorginho to go at this point, so we stop talking about him, so that the energy can be put elsewhere. Same with Mount. Part of me wants him to go just because I know he's never going to, but so this energy just gets put elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or I just want these player stands to die because they need to die. Like not the people, obviously, the idea.
Yeah.
Just needs to die. It like this idea of player stands needs to die. You're either a fan of the team or you're not at this point.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. And maybe I'm glad I didn't get. I'm so glad Twitter wasn't around during when the Abramovich started and stuff like that, so I can enjoy it a bit more. I enjoy obviously Chelsea winning trophies and everything like that, but sometimes when you just look online, I mean, I don't know about you, Scott. I barely go in any spaces anymore on Twitter. I just don't.
Spaces I used to enjoy.
Yeah,
like spaces used to be good, but now it just seems like everyone's just like an agenda driven, like dickhead all the time now. Like there's some quality people that do spaces online,
absolutely.
like Oscar, who we've been on streams before, like like is great in terms of the way he speaks about things. What's his Darren, I think, as well, who does a lot of spaces. DNYW, I think, is his Twitter handle. He does a lot of good space. He talks really well. There's a lot of like Con, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of good guys, but the problem is also just the dickheads who want to run the same nonsense all the time. Like, and it's just getting to the point, like you said, like, I just block them now. I don't want to, like, the only reason I go on Twitter nowadays for Chelsea Twitter or for football Twitter is because I'm bored. All it is, because I'm bored and I just need something to do. Like if I'm out somewhere and I haven't really got that much to do, I just scroll through Twitter. Not because I want to, not because like I enjoy it. It's because there's fuck all else to do.
Yeah. No, he's right. But you know, I think it's a good time to call it there. Actually, it's been a good discussion. Flown by. I want to thank Scott, Carlito's here. Guys in the chat contributing, going in. Gutter Frogs, that is an awesome name, by the way. Paolo, that's just an awesome name. DJ Sab, big up to you, bro. Who else? Rohan, Mitchy Bay. I think that comment you might be a bit behind, so you may know what because you may be a bit behind on that. Who else? I know Mo's in the chat. Explosive Gamer 105, Texas Blue. Thank you very much. And if I haven't seen your name, I do apologise. EE, big up to you, bro. Real Chris is here. But yeah, like I say, the next stream will be Tuesday. I haven't decided what time yet because obviously Chelsea's the early game. So I know that loads of people may be streaming after that. So I don't know if I'll do it straight away. Maybe even do it during the later games or just after the later games. But we'll definitely do a reaction to Tuesday because it's a massive game. We win it, we are definitely through. And depending on the other result, we could wrap up the group as well, which would help with the fixtures because then Scott Zagreb, we can play whoever we want.
I mean, apparently, anyway, he's going to rotate heavily for this game, according to reports.
I mean,
I think reports were that he's planning on starting like all the people that haven't been starting recently, so like Brozier, or haven't been starting that much. Like Brozier, Gallagher, Pulisic. Was Carney one of the other names mentioned? I can't remember. But yeah, people like that.
He's going to have to start Chalobah and Thiago Silva because they're the only two centre backs we've got.
Jesus Christ.
And probably Aspie as well.
I say our back line is probably going to be the same one that finished the game against United.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised anyway.
And that's mad. And then we got the Graham Potter derby next week. That should be fun. And then and then we move on. But I want to thank Scott here. I want to thank you guys. Like, share the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already. On the road to 1.5k subs. And like I say, turn your notifications bell on as well. Hopefully, we are all celebrating going through on Tuesday against Salzburg. And for whatever's left, enjoy the Sunday from the UK. I know it's not been a good day today because of the weather, but that's the season we're in. But you know what? Have a good day. Enjoy the week coming up, and thank you for your support. We really